The beautiful trap above Earth from Earth, the moon looks peaceful, silent, silver, almost harmless. It hangs above oceans, cities, deserts, and sleeping villages like an old companion that has always been there. For thousands of years, humans looked at it and imagined gods, kingdoms, rabbits, faces, dreams, and destiny. But now, for the first time in history, humanity is preparing to stop looking at the moon from far away and start living on it. Love space, science, and cosmic mysteries. Subscribe to the Cosmic Earth and join the adventure. At first, the idea sounds almost beautiful. A base on the moon, astronauts walking across grey dust, solar panels shining under a black sky, habitats glowing in the darkness, rovers moving between craters, a small human outpost standing where no city, no forest, no river, and no animal has ever existed. It feels like the next chapter of civilization, the moment when Earth is no longer our only home. But the closer we look at this dream, the darker it becomes. Because the moon is not simply a quiet rock waiting for humans. It is a dead world, a place without air, without weather, without oceans, without soil, without protection, without forgiveness. And building a base that may be far worse than most people imagine. On Earth, survival is easy to take for granted. You breathe without thinking. You walk outside without a spacesuit. The sky protects you. The atmosphere softens sunlight. The magnetic field helps shield the planet from dangerous particles. The ground beneath your feet has been shaped by water, wind, plants, and life. Even the most hostile deserts on Earth are still wrapped inside a living planet. But the moon offers none of that. Step outside on the moon without protection and there is no second chance. There is no air to breathe, no pressure to hold your body together, no atmosphere to slow incoming radiation, no clouds, no wind, no sound, no natural shelter, only vacuum, dust, rock, and sunlight so sharp it feels almost unnatural. This is the first truth about a moon base. It is not like building in Antarctica. It is not like building in a desert. It is not like building on top of a mountain. Every harsh place on Earth still gives humans something the moon does not. A planet that is alive. The moon is different. It is a place where every single breath must be manufactured. Every drop of water must be found, recycled, or delivered. Every wall must protect against radiation. Every machine must survive dust. Every mission outside must be timed, planned, and controlled. And every failure becomes dangerous faster than the human mind is comfortable admitting. This is why the dream of a moon base is so powerful and so terrifying. Because the moon looks close. It is only a few days away by spacecraft. Compared to Mars, it feels almost next door. From Earth, it shines large enough for children to point at it. It feels familiar, but distance can be misleading. The moon may be close in space, but in terms of survival, it is another universe. A human base there would not be a normal building. It would be a life support machine disguised as a home, a sealed bubble fighting against an entire world that cannot support life. Inside, humans could laugh, sleep, eat, work, and speak. Outside, everything would be trying to kill them quietly, not with storms, not with monsters, not with dramatic explosions, but with emptiness. That is what makes the moon so dangerous. Its threat is not emotional, it is physical, silent, constant, patient. A tiny leak in a habitat wall could become a life or death emergency. A damaged spacesuit could turn a simple walk into a crisis. A failed oxygen system could transform a base into a trap. A power outage during the wrong moment could become catastrophic. On Earth, if a machine fails, humans can usually step outside. On the moon, outside is the danger. And this changes everything. Even the ground itself is not friendly. The grey surface may look soft from far away, but lunar dust is not like dust on Earth. It has not been smoothed by rain or wind. It was created by billions of years of micrometeorite impacts smashing rock into tiny, sharp particles. This dust can cling to suits, stick to glass, scratch surfaces, wear down seals, enter equipment, block radiators, cover solar panels, and possibly threaten human lungs if carried inside the habitat. During Apollo, astronauts already learned how stubborn lunar dust could be. But Apollo missions lasted only days. A moon base would need to survive for months, years, maybe decades. That means dust would not be a small inconvenience. It could become one of the greatest enemies of long-term lunar life, and dust is only the beginning. The moon also has brutal temperature extremes. In sunlight, surfaces can become dangerously hot. In darkness, they can fall into deep cold. Near the lunar South Pole, where many future base concepts focus, some areas may receive long periods of light, while nearby crater floors can remain trapped in ancient shadow. These permanently shadowed regions may hide water ice. That is why they are so valuable. Water could support astronauts. It could be split into oxygen and hydrogen. It could become fuel. It could make a moon base more independent from Earth. But there is a cruel twist. The places that may contain the most useful ice are also some of the hardest places to reach and work in. Dark, freezing, rugged, dangerous. The moon offers resources, but it does not offer them gently. It hides them in places where machines struggle, where sunlight may never touch the ground, and where one wrong movement could damage equipment that cannot be easily replaced. This is the strange nature of lunar survival. Every solution creates another problem. Solar power sounds simple, but what happens during darkness? Nuclear power sounds reliable, but it brings safety, transport, and engineering challenges. Water ice sounds like salvation, but extracting it from frozen shadow may require advanced mining systems in one of the coldest environments humans have ever tried to operate in. Habitats sound safe, but they must be launched, landed, assembled, sealed, protected, powered, repaired, and expanded. Nothing is simple, nothing is free, and nothing on the moon forgives mistakes. Still, humans are drawn to it, because the moon is more than a destination, it is a test. If humanity can build a base there, we prove that civilization can exist beyond Earth. We learn how to use local resources. We learn how to survive radiation. We learn how to build in vacuum. We learn how to live in isolation. We learn how to prepare for Mars. And maybe, one day, we learn how to become a species that does not depend on one planet alone. That is the dream. But dreams in space are never harmless. They demand payment, and the moon will demand more than rockets, money, and courage. It will demand engineering perfection, psychological endurance, scientific patience, political cooperation, and the ability to survive in a place that was never made for life. From Earth, the moon looks calm, but that calm is not safety. It is absence. No wind, no water, no air, no sound, no protection, no rescue, waiting nearby. Only a beautiful dead world shining above us, inviting humanity closer, while hiding the brutal truth beneath its silver light. The moon-based dream may become one of the greatest achievements in human history, but before it becomes a home, it may first become one of the most dangerous places we have ever tried to build. The moon is not empty, it is hostile. The moon looks empty. That is part of its illusion. From Earth, emptiness feels peaceful, a silent horizon, a clean surface, a world without storms, oceans, forests, cities, or noise. But in space, emptiness is not peace. Emptiness is danger, because the things that protect life on Earth are not visible until they are gone. Air is invisible, pressure is invisible, magnetic protection is invisible, the atmosphere's shielding is invisible. The comfort of Earth is not something humans usually see. We only notice it when it disappears, and on the moon, it has disappeared completely. The first enemy is radiation. On Earth, humans live under a protective sky. The atmosphere blocks or weakens many dangerous particles before they reach the ground. Earth's magnetic field helps guide charged particles away from the surface. We do not feel this shield. We do not hear it. But every day, it stands between life and space. On the moon, that shield is missing. The lunar surface is exposed directly to cosmic radiation and solar particles. This means a moon base cannot simply be a building. It must be a shelter against invisible bullets from the universe. High-energy particles from deep space can pass through material. Solar storms can suddenly blast dangerous radiation across the surface. And unlike rain or wind, radiation does not announce itself with sound. The sky does not darken, the ground does not shake. A person may see nothing, but the danger is already there. This is one reason a moon base is far more difficult than most people imagine. A habitat can not only keep air inside, it must also keep radiation out. Thin walls may not be enough. Metal alone may not solve everything. Engineers may need to bury habitats under lunar soil. They may need to use water as shielding. They may need special materials. They may need emergency storm shelters where astronauts can hide during solar particle events. Suddenly, a beautiful moon base begins to look less like a futuristic city and more like a bunker, a human home under alien dust. Because on the moon, safety may not mean wide glass windows and open views of Earth. Safety may mean thick walls, low ceilings, buried rooms, narrow tunnels, shielded sleeping areas, and constant monitoring of space weather. This is the strange emotional cost of lunar life. The moon gives humans the most beautiful view in the solar system. Earth hanging in blackness, blue, white, alive. But to survive there, astronauts may spend much of their time hidden beneath the surface. The dream shows glowing domes. Reality may demand underground shelters. And radiation is only one threat. The second enemy is micrometeorites. On Earth, small space rocks burn up in the atmosphere all the time. Most people never notice them. They appear as shooting stars, beautiful, harmless, brief, but the moon has almost no atmosphere to protect it. Tiny particles can strike the surface at extremely high speeds. Even a small object can become dangerous when it moves fast enough. A grain-sized impactor may not sound frightening on Earth, but in vacuum at cosmic speed, it can damage equipment, puncture material, or degrade surfaces over time. A moon base must live under a constant cosmic sandblasting, not dramatic, not every second, but always possible. Every wall, every rover, every solar panel, every exposed cable, every spacesuit, everything outside becomes a target. This changes the meaning of maintenance. On Earth, damage often comes from weather, rust, rain, wind, and temperature. On the moon, damage can come from tiny pieces of space itself. A base would need strong outer layers, redundant systems, replaceable panels, impact detection, repair tools, emergency sealing methods, and astronauts trained to respond quickly when the outside world breaks something important. Because on the moon, Even a small hole is not small. A crack in a wall is not just a construction problem. It is pressure loss. It is oxygen loss. It is survival time shrinking. The third enemy is low gravity. At first, lunar gravity sounds like a gift. The moon has only about 1/6 of Earth's gravity. Astronauts can jump higher, objects weigh less, heavy equipment becomes easier to move, but the human body was built by Earth. Every bone, every muscle, every heartbeat, every balance system, every drop of blood evolved under one gravity. Take that away, and the body begins to change. Muscles weaken when they do not work as hard, bones can lose density, fluids shift, balance changes, the heart adapts. The body starts rewriting itself for a world it was never meant to inhabit. A few days on the moon is one thing, months or years are something else. A long-term moon base would become a biological experiment. How much exercise is enough? How long can humans safely live in 1/6 gravity? Can children ever develop normally there? Can people recover fully after returning to Earth? Could a moon-born human even feel comfortable on Earth? These questions are not small. They reach into the future of civilization itself. Because building a moon base is not only about keeping astronauts alive, it is about discovering whether the human body can belong anywhere except Earth. And the answer is not guaranteed. The fourth enemy is isolation. This danger is easier to ignore because it does not look technical. It does not appear on a blueprint. It is not a broken machine. It is not a cracked panel. But it may become one of the hardest problems of all. A moon base would be close compared to Mars, but emotionally, it would still be unbelievably far. Astronauts would live inside sealed rooms surrounded by vacuum. They would see the same walls every day, the same faces, the same routines, the same artificial air, the same artificial light. Outside, no trees move, no birds fly, no rain falls, no ocean sounds, no night breeze touches the skin. There is no smell of soil after rain, no distant traffic, no crowd, no natural horizon full of life, only grey land and black sky, day after day, month after month. That kind of silence changes people. Humans are social animals, but we are also earth animals. Our minds are connected to cycles we rarely think about. Sunrise, sunset, weather, seasons, open space, natural sounds, random life. The moon removes almost all of it. Inside a moon base, everything becomes controlled. The air, the light, the temperature, the schedule, the sound. Even privacy may become rare. A person may be surrounded by advanced technology and still feel trapped. Because no matter how modern the habitat is, it is still a container in a dead world. And when humans are trapped together, small problems can grow. Stress, loneliness, irritation, sleep disruption, homesickness, fear, the pressure of knowing that outside the wall is death, the pressure of knowing that every mistake matters, the pressure of knowing Earth is visible but unreachable by normal human movement. That may be one of the cruelest parts of lunar life. Earth will not disappear. It will hang in the sky like a memory. Astronauts may look at it and see everything they left behind. Families, cities, oceans, clouds, weather, life, home, close enough to see, too far to touch. A moon base may give humanity a new world, but it will constantly remind humans of the old one. And then there is the problem of rescue. In movies, space emergencies often feel fast and heroic. A problem happens. A mission control team responds. A rescue plan begins. But real space is not that forgiving. Even though the moon is only a few days away, rescue is not instant. Rockets must be ready. Launch windows matter. Systems must work. Weather on Earth can delay launch. A rescue mission itself could create more risk. So a moon base must be designed to survive without immediate help. If a major system fails, astronauts may need to fix it themselves. If a rover breaks far from base, they may need backup plans. If a medical emergency happens, there may be no hospital nearby. If a fire starts inside a habitat, there is no outside air to escape into. Every emergency becomes more complex because the environment gives no support. On Earth, disaster response depends on the planet helping us. Air exists, water exists, space exists. People nearby can come. On the moon, the base is the lifeboat. And if the lifeboat fails, there is nowhere else to go. This is why the moon is not empty. It is full of threats. Not threats made of creatures or storms, but threats made of absence. Absence of air, absence of pressure, absence of protection, absence of gravity as we know it, absence of nature, absence of easy rescue. The moon does not attack humans. It does something colder. It simply does not help. And that may be worse because every second humans live there, they must replace what Earth gives for free. They must create air, create pressure, create warmth, create shielding, create power, create water systems, create waste recycling, create emergency procedures, create psychological stability, create a tiny artificial Earth inside a world that has none of Earth's mercy. The moon-based dream is dangerous because it sounds simple from far away. Build a base, send astronauts, use local resources, prepare for Mars. But every word in that dream hides a difficult truth. A base is not a building. It is a survival machine. Astronauts are not simply explorers. They are permanent test subjects inside a hostile environment. Resources are not treasure waiting on the surface. They are frozen, buried, scattered, and hard to reach. And Mars preparation is not a straight road. It is a brutal lesson written in dust, radiation, silence, and risk. Still, the moon keeps calling. Not because it is safe, but because it is close enough to try, close enough to reach, close enough to teach us what we do not yet understand. And maybe that is the real reason humans must go, not because the moon is ready for us, but because it will reveal whether we are ready for space. The first moon base will not be a paradise. It will be a fragile island of life on a dead ocean of dust. A place where every breath is engineered, every wall is protection, every step outside is danger, and every sunrise over the grey horizon reminds humanity of one terrifying truth. Beyond Earth, survival is not natural. It is something we must build. Dust, darkness, and deadly silence. The moon's danger does not always look dramatic. It does not need fire. It does not need storms. It does not need oceans rising, volcanoes exploding, or skies tearing open. Sometimes the greatest danger is something small enough to fit between your fingers. Dust, grey, sharp, silent, everywhere. On Earth, dust feels ordinary. It gathers on tables, floats in sunlight, blows across roads, settles on windows. We wipe it away and forget it exists. But lunar dust is different. It was not softened by rain. It was not rounded by rivers. It was not shaped by wind. For billions of years, the moon's surface has been smashed by micrometeorites, breaking rock into tiny, jagged fragments. Each grain is like a microscopic shard, sharp, abrasive, electrically clingy, and extremely difficult to escape. When Apollo astronauts walked on the moon, they discovered that lunar dust stuck to everything. It covered their boots, coated their gloves, darkened their spacesuits, scratched surfaces, entered equipment, and followed them back inside the spacecraft. Those missions lasted only a few days, A moon base would be different. A base would have to live with dust every day, not once, not for a short visit, but again and again, every time an astronaut walks outside, every time a rover moves, every time a lander touches down, every time equipment is opened, repaired, or transported. The dust returns, and slowly, patiently, it begins to attack the base. It can grind against suit joints, damage seals, scratch helmet visors, reduce solar panel efficiency, block radiators, enter mechanical parts, stick to cameras, cover sensors, and if brought inside, it could become a serious health risk. This is what makes lunar dust terrifying. It is not a single disaster, it is a long war. A base may survive one problem, but can it survive thousands of tiny problems repeating every day? A scratched seal, a jammed hinge, a dusty connector, a damaged filter, a rover wheel losing performance, a solar panel producing less power, a spacesuit joint wearing down faster than expected. Each issue may look small alone. But on the moon, small problems do not stay small, because every piece of equipment has a job. Every system supports another system. And when one system weakens, the whole base becomes more vulnerable. This means astronauts would not only be explorers, they would become cleaners, repair workers, dust control specialists, mechanics, engineers, survivors. A moon base may look futuristic from the outside, but inside, daily life may revolve around one ancient struggle, keeping the deadly outside world from coming in. Airlocks would become sacred spaces. Suit ports might be used to keep dusty spacesuits outside the habitat. Filters would need constant attention. Rovers would need inspection. Tools would need cleaning. Every surface that touches the moon would become suspect. Because lunar dust is not only dirt, it is a reminder that the moon does not welcome human machines. And then comes darkness. People often imagine the moon as a place of endless sunlight, a silver world glowing under the sun. But lunar light is not simple. The moon rotates slowly. Its day-night cycle is far longer than Earth's. In many regions, sunlight can last for days, followed by long periods of darkness. For a base, that is a serious problem. Power is life. Without power, lights fail, heating fails, cooling systems fail, communication weakens, water recycling stops, air circulation becomes dangerous, computers shut down, science ends, survival begins. Solar panels may seem like the obvious answer. The moon has no clouds, no rain, no atmosphere blocking sunlight. But sunlight is not always available. And when darkness comes, solar power disappears unless energy has already been stored. That means batteries, fuel cells, nuclear systems, backup generators, redundant power lines, and careful planning for every hour without sunlight. A moon base cannot simply hope the power stays on. It must be built around the fear that one day it will not. The lunar South Pole is often seen as the most promising place for a future base. There, some high areas may receive long periods of sunlight. Nearby, deep crater floors may contain water ice. At first, this sounds perfect. Power above, water below, a place where a base might survive. But reality is more complicated. The South Pole is not a smooth, open plain. It is rugged, broken, shadowed, cold, filled with slopes, craters, ridges, and dangerous lighting conditions. Some areas are bright, some areas are dark forever. Some places may be valuable but nearly impossible to work in. The water ice that could help humans survive may be trapped in permanently shadowed craters where temperatures are unbelievably low. Machines sent there would face darkness, cold, rough terrain, and communication challenges. Humans may not easily enter those regions. Rovers may struggle. Mining equipment may fail, and extracting water from frozen lunar soil would not be like digging a well on Earth. It would be closer to mining survival from darkness. The moon gives humans what they need, but hides it in places that punish every attempt to take it. That is the pattern again. Every answer becomes a new problem. Use solar power, then survive the night. Use batteries, then launch or build enough storage. Use nuclear power, then manage risk, weight, heat, and reliability. Use water ice, then mine in freezing darkness. Build habitats on the surface, then protect against radiation and impacts. Bury habitats underground, then move huge amounts of lunar soil with machines that must survive dust. Nothing on the moon comes easily. Even landing there is dangerous. A moon base would need supplies again and again: food, tools, spare parts, experiments, construction material, medical equipment, replacement systems, maybe fuel, maybe new astronauts. Each landing would be a victory, but each landing would also be a hazard. Rocket engines can blast lunar dust and debris at high speed. That dust could damage nearby equipment, it could cover solar panels, it could threaten habitats, it could harm instruments. On Earth, rockets launch and land on prepared pads. The ground is engineered. The environment is controlled. On the moon, early landings may happen on raw surface. This means a real base may need landing pads, roads, dust barriers, navigation systems, and safe zones before it can grow. But building those things requires equipment, and equipment must be landed. And landing creates dust. Again, the moon traps humans in a loop. To build safely, we need infrastructure. To create infrastructure, we need landings. But landings themselves can endanger the infrastructure we are trying to build. This is why the first moon base may not look like science fiction. It may begin as a messy, cautious, fragile construction site. A few modules, a power system, a rover, a communications tower, a storage area, a landing zone far away, temporary shelters, dust-covered machines, astronauts working slowly, carefully, with every movement planned. No wide cities, no glass domes, no open roads, no easy life, only survival step by step. And beneath all of it, silence. The moon is silent in a way Earth never is. On Earth, silence still has texture. Wind moves, leaves shake, birds call, water flows. Distant sounds travel through air. Even at night, the planet feels alive. But on the moon, there is no air to carry sound outside. A hammer strike, a rover wheel, a footstep, a falling rock. None of it travels through open space the way it does on Earth. Outside the habitat, sound exists only through contact, vibration, and radio. An astronaut standing on the surface would see motion without hearing the world around them. A rover could move across the dust in front of them, like a silent machine in a dream. A rock could tumble down a slope without a normal echo. A lander could stand nearby, but the world itself would remain mute. This silence may feel beautiful for a moment, then unsettling, then heavy, because sound tells humans they are inside a world. On the moon, the absence of sound reminds them they are outside one. Inside the base there would be noise, fans, pumps, computers, air systems, voices, beeping instruments, the artificial heartbeat of survival. And that heartbeat could never stop. A quiet base might be a dangerous base. If the fans stop, something is wrong. If the pumps stop, something is wrong. If the alarms begin, every person listens. On Earth, silence can mean peace. On the moon, silence can mean failure. This changes the psychology of living there. Astronauts may sleep while machines keep them alive. They may eat food grown, stored, or delivered through complex systems. They may drink water that has been recycled many times. They may trust walls they cannot allow to crack. They may trust seals they cannot allow to leak. They may trust computers they cannot allow to fail. Every ordinary human act becomes connected to engineering. Breathing, sleeping, eating, washing, working, resting, even looking outside. A window is not just a window, it is a weakness in the wall. A door is not just a door, it is a controlled boundary between life and vacuum. A suit is not just clothing, it is a personal spacecraft. A walk outside is not a walk, it is an expedition into a lethal environment. This is the brutal truth of building a moon base. The moon does not need one giant disaster to defeat humans. It can use dust, it can use darkness, it can use silence, it can use small failures, it can use time. A moon base must survive not just the first landing, not just the first week, not just the first headline. It must survive ordinary days, the repeated days, the boring days, the days when nothing historic happens, but everything still must work. That may be the hardest challenge because exploration is exciting, survival is repetitive, and the moon will test repetition more than courage. Can the filters stay clean? Can the panels keep producing power? Can the suits keep sealing? Can the rovers keep moving? Can the crew stay healthy? Can the base keep warmth, air, water, pressure, and communication stable through months of dust and darkness? If the answer is yes, humanity takes one step closer to becoming a spacefaring civilization. But if the answer is no, the moon will remind us that dreams are not enough. Technology must work, every day, every hour, every breath. From far away, the moon shines softly. It looks like a place waiting for us, but up close it is not soft at all. It is sharp dust, cold shadow, blinding sunlight, broken ground, dead silence, and a horizon where Earth hangs like a fragile memory. The dream of a moon base is still alive. But now we understand what that dream really means. Not just flags, not just footprints, not just discovery, but a fragile human shelter, fighting endlessly against a world that has never known life and may never make room for it easily.